Stay, Forrest, stay in one place forever.
This was our home. We lived here.
Oh boy, I always wanted a film about just one of the many places where you could eat green eggs and ham. I was so excited at the concept of getting Tom Hanks and Robin Wright back together. I was like, hell yeah, I'm a big fan of Forrest Gump. I was like, this is great. Then I heard what the film was going to be, what it was going to be about, what the idea was. And from that time, I've never once been vaguely interested in this film at all, never thought it was going to be that good. And, like, it's Robert Zemeckis and Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. I love all of these people. I love all of them in almost anything. I can't believe that it sucks. Yeah, so here, the idea is that we see the same spot in the living room over the course of many years in different generations of this family and some other families. And I have so many minor difficulties with that idea. The first one being that it opens with actual dinosaurs roaming around on the spot. Like, camera's just fixed for almost the entire film. And it opens with literal dinosaurs in the spot, and then the dinosaurs dying, getting wiped out, and then it just kind of zooms through time. And that whole opening felt so corny, but it did kind of set the tone. I don't mind that it's corny. I think you can get away with that. But it just, like, you've got these scenes where, like, Paul Bettany, who's playing Tom Hanks' dad, is, like, yelling at him and stuff, and there's this big emotional moment, you're like, and then it skips back in time and shows these Native Americans, like, doing, like, the Simba raise to the moon with their baby. And I'm like, no. It starts showing us these things, like this family buying the house, and other families when they bought the house and left, and just as you start to get comfortable with the idea, it will jump back again and show, like, random dinosaurs walking around the spot, or Native Americans just wandering around where the living room will be in the future, or Benjamin Franklin's pissy son just being pissy on the land. And I can never get into the flow of the film because it is so jumpy. There are so many characters, 90% of whom I don't really care about. The story itself is pretty sad, like, in general. And I just don't understand why anyone would make this. Never mind Robert Zemeckis, who I think is a genius. This is... You know what? I don't want to say it. This is his Megalopolis. And just when you think the whole idea can't get any weirder, Robert Zemeckis does something stranger and sillier than having Tom Hanks play every role in the Polar Express, which is have him play the same character through about 70 years of life. I don't know what they did to that teenager, but they kind of, like, Tom Hanksified his face, tried to use Tom Hanks' voice, but he was a teenager, and it was creepy. And then somehow it gets weirder, because they then age him up to look like, you know, a young Tom Hanks. But the Tom Hanks they make him look like is, like, 35-year-old Tom Hanks. If you compared him to, like, 18-year-old Tom Hanks, wrong. And yet he's playing an 18-year-old, and I was just so confused by that. So you've got Paul Bettany, who basically looks the same almost the entire film, because they don't, like, you know, CGI him, so he just looks 50 from when he's, like, 30 to when he's, like, 60. You've got scenes where he is yelling at Tom Hanks' character about, like, oh, how dare you get your teenage girlfriend pregnant. And it's crazy because the character he is yelling at is an 18-year-old character being played by a 70-year-old man who looks about 35. And I just can't wrap my head around the whole thing. It is simply the sort of thing where there are nice moments individually, but they're punctuated by the surreal, unrealistic, uncomfortable kind of environment of the whole thing. These shots of the far past just randomly popping up. All the CGI characters, and the fact that the frame is just in the one spot. Like, it's just too many gimmicks, you know what I mean? I just wanted this to be better than it was, but honestly, it's the second film I've seen in the last, like, week or so, which would have been better off as a 10-minute short film, just doesn't really work as a full one. For being in one spot, the story really managed to be all over the place. So I'm giving Hanks a lot, 2 stars. They have Tom Hanks and Robin Wright looking their age, like they're in, like, their 60s, when their daughter enters law school. So she's in, like, her mid-20s. They had her at 18. They'd be, like, barely touching 40. It doesn't make sense. Like, it feels like such a waste of all these characters and actors. It's just such a shame. Subscribe for more hard truths.